Good evening, all of you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I welcome you all to the today's presentation. That is our first national webinar on the 178th death anniversary of our father of homeopathy, Dr. Christian Frederick Samuel Hahnemann, and our topic is guidance for the budding homeopaths. So our speaker is Dr. Nitesh Jain. He is MD Homeopathy and is a leading practitioner from Vapi, Gujarat, and a former assistant professor from Bikaner Repertory Department. Is author of two books too. Okay, so let us begin with the today's session. I want to welcome Dr. Nitesh Jain.
Very thanks, Dr. Chabra.
Yes, sir. Over to you.
Very thanks, Dr. Chabra. And very good evening. Very good evening to you all. As you all, it is the death anniversary and remembering the legend on his death anniversary, a soul that was committed to unburden the suffering of ailing humanity. To this topic, as you know, it is the guidance for the budding homeopaths. Basically, it is for the neophytes, and I am going to start up with a few of the points which I think that these are the most important ones to be kept at the back of our mind. Is starting the first thing is that the students who comes to what system, the homeopathy. That is the first slide, the Chabraji first slide. Let's go to the first slide.
एक मिनट वेट कीजिए. Yes.
Yeah, and that understand first that the first thing is that the students who comes to the homeopathy, they mostly comes as if it is the last option for them. So the first point is about the last option. That students coming to the homeopathy are mostly those who has not got admission in the dominant school of the medicine, or they have got a less mark to get the admissions there in the competitive exams, or else it is the those who wish to see the prefix that the DR before their names, just for the sake of the status, or as the getting married to reputed family, and also for the namesake. Now, the most important part is the persons who come in this way, what are they going to do after they have received the complete degree? They mostly comes and they study for the sake of passing examinations. Especially when they come in the medical college, they don't have the interest in the studies, and also they don't have the sharp mind to understand the concepts there. But as they have come here, they have to pass somehow, and that is the reason they don't have any regard for the work. And ultimately, you know that if at all you don't have any of the regard for the work that you are going to do, at least the work will not give you any regard in return. So the first and the foremost thing is you should have the regards for your work, and at least you should know that what you are doing. Just because to get the faith of someone, at least you should have the faith upon your pathy. And so now, wherever you are, and whatever you think, and whatever you have done till now, you just let it go and just put a full stop to start the beginning, as every ending is the beginning of something new. Let us come to the next slide. That is what to do after you have come to the system of homeopathy. The next slide, please. That is the first point. You have to accept the reality that you are into homeopathy. At first, you have to accept that, yes, really you are landed in the field of homeopathy. You have chosen homeopathy as a last resort, so you should not have any of the other option out. And please don't demand the best from it unless you are going to give your best. The system is not going to give its best to you. So the first and the foremost thing is you have to accept the reality that you are into homeopathy. Whatever you do, you have to accept that you will be a homeopath and not a allopath. As every system has their own scopes and a limitation, so it will be the best thing that you work upon the scopes of the homeopathy, which are the limitation of the modern medicine, and you can lead a prestigious life. After that, the second point comes that you have to try to overcome the hesitancy to speak. So you have to learn the art of the communication. And the most important thing is, at least when you know the art of the communication, you won't be, at least you won't be telling yes when you want to say no. You should learn the art of speaking no. Just at all the time you can not say yes. And it happens a number of times, especially during the case taking, when we have to take the symptoms of the sexual sphere or else marital sphere, just to see about the obvious causes as per aphorism number 93. So if you hesitate and so on, you won't be getting the aphorism number 93 where obvious causes are mentioned. And at times you have to scold the patient when they go off the track and do not follow your instruction. So the best part is you should know how to communicate the things to the other person. Now, the most important thing, we should learn the subject. The third point, we should learn the subject, keeping in view about their practical utility. Simply passing the exams will not do in the real life. You have to simulate the subjects and make it use in the hour of need. Basically, my approach is that you need to know that is the subject or else the topic in every nook and the corner, so that it can make an lasting impression in your mind. And also, if you know the basics, if the foundations are strong, at least a castle can be built upon it in a time. Just for instance, you take a topic like the mechanism of the respiration. If you know the mechanism, and if a patient comes to you, you auscultate him, and after that you know that it is the obstruction in the airway. Now, If you want to confirm it just for the sake of the patient, or else for the sake of your on the research, you can go for the PFT. But unless and until it is required, just a mere auscultation will tell you that yes, this is the case of a mere simple airway obstruction. Now, a patient of a 22 years female complained about the breathlessness and a mild cough. And on auscultation, her breath sound was a gap soon after inspiratory gap, which shows that there is the airway blockage. Now, the most important thing is if your the clinical skills are clear, at least you will know that yes, this is the case of obstruction in the airways. And now you have to correlate it with that of the homeopathy. When you see the Allen's keynote, the chapter aconite, in the bracket you will be finding on expiration. It is given in the italics. And basing upon that, the drug the causticum was given in the potency 1 m and 1 dose, and the patient got relieved. So what I mean to tell you is, at least you have to know that what subjects are you going to learn and how you can use it in your own life. Mostly in the clinics. Just it is like in the example that anatomy is useful throughout the life while writing prescriptions and to mention exact site of the problem and interpretation of radiological or else the sonological films. You should know the interpretation, that how are you going to interpret the films, especially in the private practice. In the private practice, the patients are too smart. At least they know that yes, I will be going to this doctor. Initially, I have to see that the doctor knows something or not, and they will be coming to you just to check you out. That yes, if you are a newcomer in the area, they will definitely check you out. At that moment, the only thing left with you is you have only the 10 minutes, and in that the 10 minutes you have to show the other person that yes, I am the perfect person for you. I can treat your case. So after all, for that, you should know each and everything as much as possible. After that comes the quality of the physician. Next slide, please. It is the qualities of a physician. As you might have seen that in the case of the qualities of a physician, you will be finding a numerous of the points, as it is also given in aphorisms. But the most important thing that I tell is, number one, you have to be the patient. Unless and until you are patient, you will be irritated by the patient, and also you will be keep on the changing up your drugs one after the other. When the patient comes to you and tells that yes, I am not completely relieved, at that moment you have to be patient, that no, I am not going to change of my drug. I have to see the action of the drug. So the first and the most important part is point number one, that is the patient. After that comes, you have to be alert and attentive. The most important thing of being alert is when the patient comes to you just for the span of half an hour or else 1 hour, just when you are going to take up the case, you have to see that what the patient does there. You should have the good observation, and also you have to be alert that what the patient does. Let me cite a case which also I had cited in my book on carcinosin, that initially a girl came with a hordeolum of the eye, and when I asked her about the marriage, and just she told that don't talk to me about the marriage, just I have made up my mind that somehow to get married. This one sentence, it clears up each and everything, that the girl was not willing to get married, but then due to some of the compulsion or some of the other problems, and she decided to get married. So the patient will be coming and after all the telling to you about 1 or 2 points, but you have to pick it up. After that comes, you have to be the sympathetic. Just because if at all the person comes and tells you about the problem and you laugh at it, or else you simply smile just like it's a joke, definitely the patient will not be feeling good, and of course you cannot flourish in your practice. So at least you have to be the sympathetic. Then comes, you have to be honest. Definitely, yes, you have to be honest. If at all you are not able to treat up any of the case, just remember, you are not God. You cannot treat each and every case with the results. At times when you have no other option out, you tell the patient to go for the second opinion, If the patient comes and tells you that, yes, I have to go for the second opinion, don't stop the patient. Let him go. If the patient comes to you, it is yours. If he or she does not come to you, okay, then it is fine. But at least you have to be honest that no, this time I don't have any idea what you are having. I cannot give you the drug. You please go to the other patient. Then comes the next thing. In case of the honesty and so on, you have to keep up yourself up to date. Just because the patient comes with the full knowledge about their own the diseases from Google, and when they have gone to Google, they knew each and everything. You cannot simply bluff off there. So you have to keep up yourself up to date. Next is the punctuality. You have to be punctual. In the initial phases of your clinic, if at all your the timing is from 5 to 8, definitely you reach by, because if the patient is not there, or else you think that the patient is not there, okay, let me go off by 5 o'clock. No, if the patient comes and you are not there, the patient will be thinking that this doctor has come, he is not at all here. So at least you be punctual. You have to keep up your time. And also it is better to take up the appointments. If you take appointments, it is the better one. So now the next come is the setting up of a clinic. Now the most important part is, once you have completed your degree, you have one option to go for the job, or else you have to start up your own the clinic. Before starting up the clinic, you should have the confidence and the zeal that yes, I can do something by myself. So the most important part is you have to choose the locality. So start your clinic from the known and the very approachable places, just like it can be near to the railway station, it can be near to the bus stand, or else the post office, or else uh, just like the famous the landmark and so on. Just because you are the newcomer there, if at all the person comes and asks that yes, this place I have to go, the person can guide him that yes, this is the place, you can go there. So the most important thing initially is about the locality. Then comes the location. The best location comes out to be just like the road facing one, and mostly on the ground floor. But fortunately or unfortunately, we don't find the places nowadays road facing and also on the ground floor. But if it is possible, then that is the best. But if the area is not available there, then at least you can go to the first floor. Just go to the first floor. So at that moment, also the base person and also the person with the pain in the knee, difficulty in the walking, also they can approach you. But if you go above the first floor, the third or fifth or 10th, something like that, those patients will be finding it extremely difficult to approach you. Just to stand in the lift and come to you, it's too tough. So at least especially the places like the Mumbai, in that places you can have the clinic on the 10th floor, just like Rajan Shankaran, but at least not here. Then, especially the clinic should be in the two parts. The first one, it is the consultation room, and the next is the reception one. You have to make the two parts of your own clinic. After that is the minimum requirements. The requirements that you know about the chair, tables, stationery is the instrument that you know to use, examination table, and then the drugs that you are going to keep, and so on. And especially in case of the reception portion, you don't forget to keep the magazines and after all the newspaper. Also, you can keep your on the cuttings of the newspaper of your articles, or else the testimonial from the patients there. Now, the most important part, if at all you are having the reception area, then at least there should be one receptionist, and the receptionist should be of the different sex. If you are a male doctor, then at least the receptionist should be female, and if you are a female doctor, then the receptionist shall be male. It is just because if at all you have to examine a patient of the another sex, at that moment you can call your receptionist to stand by you. it is of much importance. After that, main things come that what all instructions you have to give to receptionist. It is most important. At least that she have to be decently dressed, and she should be vocal. The most important thing that at least she should notice, if the patient is there and comes to you in the waiting room, what he or she does, that is the actual constitution of the patient. That is the mental disposition which we require. You have to tell your the receptionist, if at all the patient comes and does one thing or the other, at least make a note, and when the patient enters in the consultation room, you just give the note to me. This helps a lot. Just because the patient in the consultation room is completely different than he is outside. After that, you have also to see of the advertisement of the clinic. You have to make your own name, after that the logo, and you maintain the color script and the font style, so that in the long run it can be just like the name of a brand. You have to keep up your own prescription pads and the banner, then the signboard, and also you can go for the digital marketing of this age. Now, then comes important part about deciding of the fee. Regarding the decision of the fee, it is to be seen that on which locality you are. The first and the foremost thing, you have to see what the other doctors are doing in your area, and you have to do something like that. You cannot skip it out. But if at all you feel it is too low, then at least you have to do something else, and you have to keep up your own fee. And what I say is you should keep your fee separate, and also the drug that you are giving, its charges should be completely separate. So at least the patient, when it comes to you, he or she knows that, yes, I have to pay at least this amount of fee to the doctor if at all he gives me drug or not. So you have to change up the mind. If in the initial phase of the practice, you can find it to be the difficult, but then gradually when the patient comes to you, then it becomes handy. Now, the next thing is you can decide your fee, but don't decide the charges of the medicine that you are going to give. You can increase it or you can decrease it just by knowing your own the confidence. And also, if you know that the patient can pay more, then definitely you go and charge more. But at that moment, you cannot increase your fee. You can only increase that is the charges of the medicine that you are giving. Now, the trend of having a contract for a few months to a year also goes nowadays. Those who have been working in the chains of clinic, just like a Dr. Batra and so on, of course, they knew it. So this type of contracts can also be made, but at least don't make a contract of something else. And the most important part comes is what all things you have to avoid. The basic things that you have to live. Please don't do these stuff. Number one is you should not be in haste. Don't be in the hurry, either in your words, in your action, and most important thing especially in the prescribing and also in making the diagnosis. Once you make hurry, at times it happens that the diagnosis with the other person has ruled out, you tell the same diagnosis. So please don't make hurry. Take your time, be patient. Second is don't have a false sense of the prestige. You are a physician, you can only work, you are not a god. You cannot treat all the patients coming to you. So please start leaving the patients. And then the third, don't destroy the hope of the patient, even in the serious or else the advanced cases in which you know that the patient is going to die, but you don't have any right to destroy the hope of the patient. There are a number of cases in which only the hope has made him alive. Then next, don't offer the advice or else the drug unless and until asked. If at all no one asks you, just keep shut. Don't tell anything. Now, next is don't ring about the patient to know what has happened to him, because the patient nowadays thinks that the doctor has no idea what will be having. He is not having the confidence. So he's asking me, or else he don't have the patient. And now he requires me to come. So please don't do these stuff. Next, please never criticize the other doctors of the physician. Patients are not your own. They are with you only because they need you. Once your need is over, the patient will run away. But then go and tell another doctor about you. So don't ever criticize anyone in front of the in front of the patient. Next is don't boast up that yes, 100% guarantee it will be over. At least you are not a contractor to give the guarantee. You are a physician, right? And please, you don't negotiate about the fee. Don't increase it or else don't decrease it. You have to keep one fix. And if the patient is not able to afford it up, okay, you give in free, but don't decrease it. Once you start decreasing, you have to remember that whom I gave in what amount. And it is a great help to remember all these things. Then if at all you go for the home visit, please don't eat or drink there anything. You have come there to do your work. Do your work, and if at all they tell you just take a tumbler of water, that's more than enough. No need to have the snacks with them. At least I hope that this was the short way in which I could have given at least the guidance to the budding homeopath. Very, very thanks to you. If there are any of the questions, please, you can ask. Yes, hello. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Nitesh. Anyone have question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly to the sir.
If there are no questions, means the person won't understand, or else they knew everything. Yes, please. Any questions?
Hello, hello.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me? I have a
Hear
question.
me. Acha,
I have
I
a
can
question.
treat. I have a question. Yeah, I can treat with prescription or without prescription.
See, the best part is when the patient comes to you, at least it is the right of the patient to know what drug you are going to give him. So you should give your prescription.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else to ask the question? There are comments coming, sir. Nice explanation, but no one is asking the questions. Okay, so
Actually, the time was less. We cannot go to elaborate of the things there. But then I hope that the main points are clear to all.
Thank you, sir.
one question is there from Deepak Sharma. Sir, can I should a contract for fee? It's right or not?
A contract for
Fee. Sir, can I should a contract for fee? It's right or not?
contract for fee.
Yes. I think he's asking that should he make a contract with the patient about the fee that 500 of this much or 500, 1,000 for this much, anything like that.
See, the most important thing is contract are about the two types. One is the verbal, one is the non-verbal. And when you go for the non-verbal concepts, at least those contracts are made with us. So if at all you feel that yes, you have to go for the year-long concept, you can tell the patient that I will be charging around the 50K, something like that. And what I do in these cases, I tell you extremely frankly, if at all the patients comes, I tell that yes, for 1 month, along with the consultation and the fee, along with the drugs, your charges will be 3,000. If at all you take the contract for the 6 months, then I will be charging you for the 5 months with 1 month's free treatment. So in this case, what happens is the patient says, okay, fine, I will be going for the 15,000. At least I will be getting 1 month free treatment. So that is the craze of the patient that they will be getting something free. You can do these types of stuffs also, but then at least don't go to the contract to some other level. It can take you to the criminal cases and so on.
Any other question? Okay, one more question from Akansha Yadav.
Yeah.
On YouTube. Here is in my city, they just make the fee and medicine combined. Is it necessary to make separate fee?
See, the best part is to make the separate fee, just because if the patient comes to you and you have just given your note on the prescription that you go to the lab and do these all tests, at least you can charge the prescription, because you are not sitting there for doing the charity and so on. And if you like to do the charity, at least I will say you do the charity for the poor, not for the rich ones. So it is better to go for the charges different and also the medicine different.
Okay, okay.
Am
Thank you
I
so
clear,
much,
Akansha?
sir. Any other question? Okay. One more question from Monica. Some insights on setting up an online consultation.
See, basically what the main thing is, online consultation was not applicable in India initially, but especially in the time of the corona, it had taken a boom. So you can start it up. In these cases, the most important thing is either you can keep up the consultation form, and for the guidance you can just go to the writing of Kant, in which he writes about the things that you should know to be a successful physician. During his time, the Kant did the same thing. You can also go for it and do the same thing. And in cases of the online consultation and so on, you have to take something, the login and so on, if you have to make the website. So it is difficult to answer on this platform just because the time is running out presently. Okay. I can answer you separately. You just mail me.
Yes. One last question, sir. How to suggest to tackle arrogant patients who come to test the new physicians or start up an argument over fees? Any of your experience will help.
Yes, of course. One patient came to me, and especially where I practice in Vapi, the Mumbai is too near. So at least the patient will be suffering from one thing or the other, they run to Mumbai. And after the patient goes to Mumbai, and then he will be having a big deal of files and so on. So the patient came and kept the whole file in front. You can do with me. The only thing I told him is, see, if at all your diagnosis is made and you are not cured, then just remove the files from my table. You take it off. You have to be tough. You have to speak out. Unless and until you speak, the person will be thinking that, yes, I can dominate it. At least we call in Hindi, जो दबता है उसी को दबाते हैं. So इसलिए कम से कम दबना बंद कर दो.
Thank you so much.
You should get dominated. And you simply scold. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. We are actually running out of time. So
yeah, of course, the time is running out.
So here there are three books. All the three have written by Dr. Nitesh Jain, and you can mail him Dr. Nitesh Homoepath at gmail.com if you want these books. Two Organon Revisited and Versatile Role of Carcinosin have already been in the market, and the upcoming book is The Clinical Prescriber to Indian Mother Tinctures. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you all the participants for being here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.